So, so this is going to be an entrant um, video of CNC Farms open collaboration for freezer meals. I will put the links down, the link to her channel and the thing down below. And what Mrs. Traveler is going to make is a meal for me that I use when Mrs. Traveler's not around. And it's what I call Kathy muffins. Basically, it's a sausage egg McMuffin with, but she's making homemade ones, which are much better than McDonald's ones. And right now, she's setting up, and and I'm showing you our freezer right now because she said if I take a picture of her butt, she's going to kill me, which I think she will. You can see she wraps them in foil, so she's getting the pan ready, and she'll get the sausage out of our freezer. So, and what we do too is when I finish the foil, I take it off and put it in that container, so we reuse the foil too. And in a while I'll be back as she explains to me what she's doing. Okay, and Lucy's sleeping until Mrs. Traveler gets into this. Right now, you defrosting the sausage in the microwave?
Totally defrosting it.
Well, not totally defrosting it, but making it so that she can...
30 seconds. I just soft enough that I can cut through it, but still frozen.
So basically she puts it in the microwave for 30 seconds just so that it's soft enough for her to cut through it, and then she'll bake the sausage. Or is it called bake?
Yeah.
Hey, I used the right term, bake. And
these are all the things I use to make the muffins. Of course, muffins, cheese, eggs, some large baking sheets, storage container, and foil. Use these foil sheets because they're perfect size, and they're not very expensive, but we still save them and reuse them because we save everything we can. So that's what we do.
so basically she's going to be using this, cutting the sausage. Go ahead.
Well, talk over you.
I know they're not going to hear you, so I'm repeating what you said. Basically now she's cutting the sausage, and of course we use muffins, cheese, eggs. I told you about the foil. I didn't say foil sheets, I said aluminum foil, but Reynolds makes just regular foil sheets now that we use. And then she's using 2 big bacon sheets.
Let's see. You have to cut the sausage while it's still fairly frozen because it cuts easier. You can cut through the wrapper. Plus, you can make thinner slices. That way they don't shrivel up. They'll stay a nicer size.
So I'm going to repeat what she said. If you heard what she said, awesome. But I'm going to repeat it anyway. Oh, excuse me. She cuts it while it's still fairly frozen because she can use the wrapper, and it's still easy to get the wrapper off, cut through the wrapper. And then also she can make, did you say thinner or thicker?
Thinner.
Thinner slices, and they don't shrivel up as much when she actually cooks them. And as we said, we recycle the aluminum foil sheets, um, though even though they're not that expensive to buy, we recycle them because travelers need save every penny they can right now. So right now, she's just getting the sausage ready, taking the wrappers off.
So I prep everything ahead, so just easier for me that way.
Yeah. And she preps everything ahead because it's easier for her. And while she's doing the prepping, we'll take a little break and we'll be back. Man, she's beautiful when she's cooking. Well, she's always
You
beautiful,
figure
but
with your stomach there.
she says I'm thinking with my stomach, but I think she's beautiful all the time. So we'll be back. So now that Kathy is actually making something that has food involved, and she's not going to starve. She actually was lifting her head up and snipping. Lucy is very food motivated, and of course, very spoiled too because now she doesn't get the raw stuff, but I usually share with her. So we'll be back. So now that Kathy has it all prepped, she cut open the muffins and unwrapped the cheese, and you saw her cutting the sausage. Well, I guess this still is considered prep, but
Well, I put all the bottoms on the same tray and all the tops on a separate tray, so it's easier for me.
so what she's doing is she puts all the bottoms on one tray and all the tops on the other tray because it's easier that way for her. And that way she doesn't get them mixed up. And um, as I said, then she puts the sausage on the. Oh, she's toasting the muffins first? So she toasts the muffins first. At what temperature do you toast the things? Oh, so so you broil the muffins to toast them. And we'll be back when they're broiled. So um, while the muffins toast, she gets the eggs ready, and she has a.
What I do, one egg for 2 muffins.
So,
So 12 muffins and 6 eggs.
so she does one egg for 2 muffins,
Yeah.
and so basically we're making 12 muffins, so we need to use 6 eggs. And she has a piece of aluminum foil in a thingy, baking pan. And so now you know why Mrs. Traveler is doing the cooking and Mr. Traveler is just doing the filming and the narration for you all. And oops, she got a shell. Do you have a thing to?
I learned this on a baking show. If you use a shell to get the shell out, it's so much easier.
And she learned on a cooking show that if you use the shell to get a shell out, it's easier. So then, and she forgot her egg beater, so she's getting something to beat the eggs with. And as I said, there she is, and she's probably going to start barking now because she wants food. which actually looking at the clock, 11:34, it's getting close to lunchtime too. Not that she gets lunch.
Okay, no. Because neither one of us can have milk, I use water. You only need like maybe a tablespoon, but I mean, it's fine to use milk, but we just can't have it.
Okay. So Mrs. Traveler was explaining that she uses about a tablespoon of water. Now you can use milk, but neither Mrs. Traveler nor I are allowed milk, so she uses water, and then she beat it. She just beats it. Yeah. Okay, I'll shut up. All. Especially since she's done beating it, beat it, just beat it. So then she puts the eggs in the pan, and um, so do you cook them that way or do you fold them? I guess you'd have to cook them first, huh? Huh?
So I'm just going to pretend you didn't say that.
She's gonna pretend I didn't say that. So we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so the muffins are toasted, and she turned the oven from broil to 375. Did you say 375? And she uses the same pan for the sausage that she used with the muffins. That way, we're not dirtying more pans. And how long does the sausage usually take?
Doesn't take it long. I usually just look at them to see, but I don't make them really brown because we're going to cook them more when you reheat them.
Yeah, so she doesn't cook them till they're fully cooked. She looks at them.
Fully cooked, but they're not like.
They're not brown because then we'll be cooking them again when you put it on the muffins and the cheese. So we'll be back.
When the sausage goes in.
Okay, and she also put the eggs in with the sausage. Um, and now she's getting the cheese ready on the muffins. And just so you know, not all 12 muffins will make it into the freezer. Um, because
And even if they do, their life won't be long.
and she said even if they do, their life won't be long. This really is one of my favorite lunches, um, or brunches, because I don't really eat breakfast.
Here's a tip if anybody cares. I save these bags from on the muffins because they're nice, heavy, good for in the freezer. So I save those for other stuff.
So, in case you weren't able to hear Mrs. Traveler, she said she saves the bags that the muffins come in because they're heavy and they're good to use for the freezer. So, um, and now we're going to wait for the sausage and eggs to cook. And Mrs. Traveler didn't really say that there was a certain time she eyeballs it. So after she eyeballs the stuff and it's ready, we'll come back up and show you the assembling of it. So I'll let you say about your coffee.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to say one very important thing you need is your cup of coffee to be ready, so you have one to drink while you're making your muffins. So make it mine now.
Where Mr. Traveler would rather have his Diet Dr. Pepper, but you all know that already about Mr. Traveler. We'll be back. So, Mrs. Traveler actually timed the sausage, usually she doesn't, but it took about 13 minutes, and you can see how they stay flat as compared to shriveling up. Now the eggs are still baking. They take a little longer than the sausage to make. So
I'm sure they can tell when eggs are set.
and she says that she's sure you all are smart enough to know when your eggs are ready. And we'll be back to show you the eggs going on the muffins in a little bit. Okay, so we're using turkey sausage. Of course, you can use any type of sausage you want. And Mrs. Traveler was saying that you can get the foil sheets at dollar quarter store, dollar quarter tree. However, she gets the Reynolds brand. The Reynolds brand.
And it's made in the USA.
Plus, it's made in the USA. Thumbs up for Reynolds making it in the USA, because they don't make everything there. But anyhow, good job, Reynolds. But they're stronger than the ones at the dollar quarter tree, which are made in China. And there's a lot more sheets in it and stronger. So she gets them at Wally World for $1.69. Around $1.69. And here's some of our cacti. Just since they're there, I'll show you some of Mrs. Traveler's gardening. And the hummingbird, like, well, I don't know, is it considered stained glass?
Well, it's considered stained glass, but this is actually plastic.
Oh, it's considered stained glass, but it actually is plastic. And we actually got that at an antique and co-op store for $5. So anyhow, now you got an even bonus from the cooking on this video. And we'll be back when the eggs are ready. So,
of course, cut these into 12 pieces.
Now that the eggs are ready, Mrs. Traveler is cutting the eggs into 12 pieces for the 12 muffins with her favorite knife. I know it is. She's laughing.
I get very upset when I misplace my favorite knife.
Yeah, she was laughing and she goes, "It is my favorite knife." And I said, "No." And she told you she gets upset if she misplaces it. And boy, do I hear it. "Where'd you put my favorite knife?" I put it in the drawer. So anyhow, we even go back and forth when you can't necessarily hear her, huh? So anyhow, this is how she makes me my egg muffins. She can't eat them because she's not allowed to have the meat. So it's an act of love when she makes these. And that's part of the reason that they go in the freezer, because even though I might try to eat all 12 at one time, I can't do it anymore.
Tell them how to make them when you put them in the microwave.
So then when I take them out of the freezer, I will wrap one in a paper towel. Now, our microwave, it's $1.15. I don't know the wattage, but it's a pretty powerful one. The one we had before, I had to do 2.5 minutes to make the muffin hot enough that I liked it. So with that, it will all depend on your microwave. And she wraps it in the foil.
Yeah, see, these sheets are perfect size. It's so easy.
Yeah, they're
just roll them over, fold them under.
So, and then after she folds it in the foil, she puts them in a, well, I don't think it's Tupperware, but a Tupperware type container that she can put in the freezer. So it's Rubbermaid, she said. Um, so anyhow, that's our freezer meal.
And so the reason we wrap them before we put them in there because they get covered in ice if we don't wrap them.
And the reason that Mrs. Traveler wraps them before we put them in the freezer is they'll get ice on them if you don't wrap them up. So anyhow, this is our entry. If you like what Mrs. Traveler did, please give her a thumbs up. And share it, subscribe to us so you know what other kind of videos we have. Check some of our other videos out. We got the definite variety. We do like to go for walks a lot, though. So,
Ready for the freezer.
and there it is, ready for the freezer. And it takes about 6. And she also will at times put them in the egg muffin wrappers. They're not wrappers.
Ziploc bags or whatever you need to use.
Ziploc bag. Oh,
Freezer.
excuse me. What? What? So anyhow, I want to thank you all, and remember that any kind of aid that you need to help you do things like this, you have to sit in a wheelchair, which Mrs. Traveler doesn't have to do, but if you have to use reachers, whatever you need to make your life easier and better so you can get out and enjoy life. It's not making you handicapped. It's making you handy capable. And don't wrap those two. So anyhow, thank you all for joining us. Have a great day and God bless you all.